Welcome back guys, Slowbacon here, time for today's multiplayer battle. So today we're going to be doing something a wee bit different. We are making a return to the Greenskins, and I really want to focus on the Greenskins for a wee while and building counter armies to the other factions. That's not really something I did the first time around. Basically the first time around I just tried to make a build that kind of countered everybody. Didn't really work, it worked half the time I guess, but it didn't really work. So one of the main issues that I have with the Greenskins is against Bretonnia. So this is a pretty stock standard Bretonnia army, right? Occasionally you might see one less archer and one more of these guys, or you might see two less of these and a couple more archers. But generally speaking, the army composition doesn't change. Now the reason this army is so strong is because of Leon Kerr and his buffs. Specifically this one, and that one there. So what they do is buff his army while at the same time reducing your army, right? This one and this one we can kind of do something about because they're only a 45 meter radius. This one here, which is in effect the whole time unless his leadership drops below 50%, we can't really do anything about. So my theory behind my current build was, can we get Leon Kerr away from his army and then counter his infantry force and his ranged force and destroy that before Leon Kerr has a chance to come back and use his buffs. And the way that I've gone about that is by giving us a rock lobber. So what this is doing is baiting Leon Kerr and hopefully a couple of his lords away from the battle itself. If they don't come away, it's fine. We can actually stay back there with our cavalry force and our lords and protect the rock lobber, and the rock lobber will actually take care of most of like the archers and stuff that are causing us most of the issues. So, as I said, this is a pretty stock standard Bretonnia army. We can test the strength of the infantry force by knocking all these off. We'll give them a lord. How many is that? 6. We'll give them 7, just best case scenario. And we'll do the same with us. So I'll knock one of them off and replace them with a lord version. In case you're wondering what this is an add-on that allows you to assign any unit to a lord, which obviously is very, very handy. We're trying to test out stuff. So look at the cost value. His infantry line, this is generally speaking the front infantry line, is actually more expensive than mine. And you might be wondering why these guys don't have a lot of armor. They only have 30. But when this guy's hitting a unit, they have 0 armor. Okay, so we'll jump right in. Now, in case you're wondering, or in case you guys can hear it, all the bangs and stuff in the background, no, I don't live in the ghetto. It's just fireworks. So I can't help it. I can't tell everybody not to do fireworks, right? So we'll test this pretty quickly. There won't be any strategy or anything involved in this. So, one, spread these guys out. Unlock slide. Spread these guys out. Now lock that. Stick that on fast forward and just attack. Right, there won't be any, like I say, there's no strategy or anything involved in this, but we will have a look at this guy. So should attack that guy there first. We'll have a look. And you'll see his armor actually drops to 0, which is really good because these guys obviously aren't armor piercing. They do have a wee bit of armor damage. Or armor piercing damage, 8. Not very fantastic, but we kind of nullify that completely by having this guy in the army. You'll see there his armor is, if I get on the right one, his armor is currently at 0. And whoever that guy's attacking, that'll be the same case. So he's a very, I'm not going to say he's an integral part of this army, but he's very, very strong. You do, of course, have the rusty arrows who have the same sunder effect, but they are ranged. And if you bring them, they're just going to get killed off by the Bretonnia rangers or the Bretonnia peasant bowmen. We'll just kill them off a lot faster than what we can actually get value out of that. So as you can see, we're quite handily winning this front infantry line battle. And we'll start to snowball in effect. So this is what the infantry lines are like when there's no like buffs or debuffs or anything like that running. Of course, Bretonnia have their buffs, so we have our own buffs as well. Of course, we have plus 58 melee attack, and you can get it twice. Yeah, because you can do the spell and you can get the buff from Wurzag as well. So you can actually double up on that one, and there's a couple of other buffs, obviously, from melee. Right, jump in there, finish this off. So as you can see, our infantry line quite handily outdoes his infantry line. That's of course without archer support. Get out there, finish us off, thank you. There we go. So yeah, so we have a stronger infantry line than what he does. And that's best case scenario. Normally you wouldn't see 7 units of these, you'd only see 6. Sometimes 5, but generally 6. And of course the other issue being is their archers. This one's a bit harder to show exactly how it works, because obviously you can't really melee with archers, but again, we'll give them a best case scenario, so they're going to have 6 archers. What's that? Yeah, that's 6 start battle. So 6 versus 2. You'd expect, well, if they played it right, they could obviously win, but it is the AI, so I can only show you so much. But you'll see these guys quite handily handle 6 units of archers themselves. And of course, these guys have Vanguard, so if you get on some decent maps, you can actually hide them quite well. You can just attack anybody you like. Shouldn't make too much difference. So now, of course, why bring one of him and one of him? This guy is actually anti-infantry as well. So if, like if they're spearmen at arms, I think it is, the ones with the shields, if they do actually get in the way, we can kind of beat them. I think they're actually going to lose. I did too. Every other time I've done that, I've won. But you'll see they're even 59, like 100 kills between them. They do counter bowmen quite handily. And of course, they won't be actually... the bowmen, generally speaking, won't be actually shooting your guys. So, of course, the other issue we have with Bretonnia is the Lord Squad. He can keep all that and that. These 2 of these guys on mounts as well. Keep all their abilities. They can have a couple of potions. A couple of potions for us. And usually the damsel. She's on foot generally. That one. Yep, generally they don't take that one. That one there's the one we want to keep. And for us, we'll just load in our Lord Squad and our cavalry. Now, we are a lot more expensive than what they are, of course. So 5, 6, so we're about $1,000 more expensive than what they are. So you would expect us to win this fight. But this kind of shows you, like, our infantry's cheaper, and obviously our 2 counter archer units, I didn't actually show you that price, we're going to have a look at those prices in a minute, are actually a lot cheaper than theirs as well. So all we want to do here is put these guys together, put your lords in there, lock them into position so we can keep our lords protected, and just go off to fight. Now you do get a bit screwed up here with the AI if you do auto attack. Generally won't. We are going to eat a charge because you would eat a charge generally speaking. Right, we'll just go straight onto Leon Kerr. Buffs. Buffs. He'll come back, don't worry about him. Potion. Buffs, buffs. Oh, do we have that spell? No, not yet. Alright, you can come back, please. You can come back too. Oh, don't even need to. Yeah, I mean, we quite handily beat their Lord Squad with our Lord Squad. I'll just have a look at that Archer versus the 2 counter units. Again, just see what that price was. And you'll hear me talking about price quite a bit, and I think that's what a lot of the multiplier comes down to, you know. Can you effectively get value for money out of your troops? So if they bring 5, say, it's pretty standard. You know, there's 1,000, 1,100 there. If they brought 6, obviously that makes it even worse for them. Yeah. So that's our counter to their archers. I did, of course, do another version of this, which I didn't test in multiplayer, but I did test with the AI, is actually removing the rock lobber and giving us another couple of units of Goblin Wolf Riders, just to get onto their range units a little bit faster. It didn't quite work as well, because you're not getting Leon Kerr away from the army. And like I say, his buffs, this one, the damage resistance, and this one here, minus armor for you and minus melee defense for you, makes a huge difference. If we could get rid of this one here as well, that would be even better, but that's not really that viable to start off with. Right, so that's the army. We'll jump in. I think that's all we want to have a look at, isn't it? What do we show you? Anti-infantry, anti-archers, Lord Squad. Yep, cool. Right, we'll jump in and have a look at a replay of this actually in action. This is my very first time using it. I've only used it once in multiplayer, so I've got a stunning, well, I'm guessing you already know the win-loss record. Stunning win-loss record of 1 win and 0 losses so far. In this, I actually made a bit of a stuff up at the start. I overcasted a foot of Gork because I wanted to see how much damage it would do. Yeah, it does decent damage, but it's probably not worth the cost. Right, we'll just fast forward this wee bit at the start. Right, I'll just talk about placement actually. So what I've done here is put the Lord Squad on this side. What I'm hoping to do, if he's not going to go for this rock lobber, which he may very well not, or other games they may very well not, they're going to come this way and try and take out the Lords, right? So what we've done is actually put our 2 anti-archer units on this side of the field. These are hidden at the moment, so they can run across this way. So his Lords are going to go that way, he's going to run across this way. Of course, worst case scenario is they pull one Lord and attack the catapult with that. If that happens, I would not charge with the cavalry, I'd protect the catapult. Because even though it is only a low cost catapult, it's only 600 gold, protecting it will actually work in our favour quite a bit. You'll see at the very start, if we actually just go slow-mo. No normal speed to start with. Let's see if we can get a shot off. What was I targeting first? I can't remember. This one here. So this was our first shot. You'll notice it does quite a bit of damage on the first shot, even though it is only a 600 value. Yeah, see, we did quite a bit of damage to the front unit and that unit. He's picked up 15 kills on his very first shot. So that can take that out. So yeah, if they don't get this, we can pretty much counter their ranged units just with the rock lobber itself. And there you go, a couple of shots and he's already breaking. Up to 29 kills. He doesn't actually pick up any more kills than that. So what he's doing, of course, he is going up here, which removes the buff from these guys. You'll see they've only got the 1 buff on them at the moment. Oh, 2 because the princess lady's there. But they don't have the damage resistance buff, and they don't have the buff that makes my troops weaker. And these guys bugged out trying to attack these, which isn't obviously ideal. So he's left his flank open. Even though these guys are anti-large, there's not enough there to stop 3 units of cavalry plus lords. So we can actually just crush right through that. And you actually see by the time these guys come back, we've pretty much won. Here's the overcasted foot of Gork. I mean, did decent damage to those. It almost one-shot that unit, so that's okay, I guess. And what we're doing with the Goblin Wolf Riders is just trying to pick up anything out the back here. These guys, the Squig Hoppers, because they are actually anti-infantry as well, I'm not too worried about charging them into this. I don't know if these count as large or not. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But we're coming in, we're countering this archer unit here. So effectively we've taken 3 of his archer units out already. Maybe even 4. I think 3 at this stage. And I'm running these guys around, just mopping up any of these guys that have come back, because we don't want them returning to the field of battle, of course, at range. And we're breaking this quite comfortably now. And as we said earlier, my front infantry line is going to beat his front infantry line every single time, if his lords are away. So his lords are back now, and you'll see these guys have a lot more buffs and debuffs and all sorts of other rubbish on them. As you can see, we've absolutely crushed on our left-hand flank here. Pushed in. These guys are breaking. They're not coming back. I've seen this one unit here. I did actually pull out the Wolf Riders to go and attack that. Just throw everything in. It does get a bit messy at the end. You'll see. Messy as in, I didn't really micro that well near the end, but I didn't really need to. Like, we've broken, what, 2, 3, 4, 5 units already. There's another one gone. So now it comes down to basically just the lords in it, just wee scragglers of infantry left. So the prince, was it princess? Damsel. The wizard is still alive, so we are going to target her next. Try and get rid of her because she does debuff us. Although it's not running at the moment, but she does debuff us. Now, talking about earlier when I overcast that foot of Gork, an overcasted foot of Gork costs 28 wings of magic. Is it worth it to wipe out one unit? Probably not. But it did some good damage, holy hell. I think we did actually get enough, yeah, I did actually get enough wings of magic back to start throwing out some other buffs as well. So yeah, these guys have come back. I don't actually know why these guys turned back, and I think half of them were stuck. Which is the Wolf Riders. As you can see, they've got over 100 kills already. Squiggies are back. They're currently at 65 kills. So now it's just a Lord fight now. And as I already proved earlier, we will actually win this. Wurzag does actually take quite a bit of damage here at one stage. I do manage to pull him out, because I'm pulling out behind or into my own troops. So he can't actually just run straight through here, it's all cavalry. You see Leon Kerr's gone down, his leadership's breaking, so he's no longer getting the beloved son of Bretonnia buff, which just, again, just tips everything even more in our favour. So just keeping these guys just mopping up whatever is out there. Again, we counter their infantry with my infantry, so there's no issues on that one. Where's it? Oh, yeah, there he is. I didn't actually see it. We did take quite a bit of damage, and I managed to pull him out. Still on about half health. So he's alright. He's fine. He's not going to go anywhere. King Leon is broken. I don't know if I remember if I actually killed him off or not. I think I did. So yeah, then it's just a case of keep rolling your buffs. Keep these guys on. These guys are all broken now. You're breaking them out. So yeah, this is the first time I've actually used the build in a public match. So this is against something that's not AI. It says close victory, but I really don't think it was. I think I actually absolutely steamrolled him. So even though the Rock Lobber did serve its initial purpose, it's still got 47 kills. For $600 or 600 gold investment, I'm pretty happy with that. It won't always be that case, but I'm still pretty happy with that. And you can just see on my kill numbers, 89 here, 139 on these guys. A lot of that was mopping up, especially on these guys, but still, it's 139 people we didn't have to worry about again. And the Durkic Squigs, yeah, good effort by them as well, 89 kills, especially because we ran them into melee, or ran them through one of the melee units, which was this guy here. He actually had a lot of those, didn't he? Spearmen and arms. So we ran them through that into the archers. So he brought 5 archers. So yeah, we've shown it was 6. And how many of these did he bring? Only 5. So we've shown it was 7. So my front line will actually smash his. As you can see, I've actually got 3 units here that are all near full health. This little man picked up 45, almost died, but he didn't. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Like I say, what's worst case scenario for us? He puts one of these guys onto that, keeps Leon Kerr with the army, keeps the other guy with the army. But if he only puts one onto that, like I said, I'll just hang back. Maybe even with just 2 of these and 1 of these, just to kill him off. I'm pretty sure, maybe even 1 and 1. You know, you just split this force, your cavalry force up, the same way he does. Simple as that. Right, so that's today's video for you guys. I know it was a bit of theorycraft and a bit of thinking and all that type of stuff. I did try to get through it as fast as possible. But that kind of gives you an insight on my thinking on like how I try and build my armies and stuff like that. I've done exactly the same with all the other armies. I guess I could show you those while we're here. I don't have any replays to show you, but I can show you the armies themselves. And this is like the first draft of the army, so they may be changing in the coming future. This is my Beastman army, anti-Beastman army. So again, I've got this wee boy for the Sunder armor, so good. But I can also bring my rusty arrows for another Sunder armor. Of course, the Beastmen have a bit of armored units, not so much in the infantry, but their lords. So if we can focus on them and take them out, we should be able to knock those out very quick. I haven't had a chance to test this one in public yet. Of course, we've got a couple of Black Hawks in there, a couple of big ones for some anti-large, and some anti-large on our cavalry, and of course, a couple of squiggies in there as well. Chaos, same sort of principles. We want a lot of armor pen because obviously Chaos generally bring a lot of armored units. So we've got the nasty Skulkers who hopefully don't break. I have actually played with this army and we did win quite convincingly. Again, with the Warlords boys for the Sunder armor, generally what I do is pair them up with one of the Black Hawks and go and attack a unit, and it just wipes the floor with units because these guys are of course armor piercing, and then if we can reduce their armor even more through this guy, they just melt them. I did bring 2 archers with this one, and it's quite effective actually because we're using this guy with the Sunder armor effect. This guy actually does more damage. So, and of course a giant and a couple of anti-cav units if we need them. Dwarfs, same kind of principle. Obviously dwarfs very heavily armored. We are bringing our Sunder armor effects double times. Brought this guy here. 2 reasons. He doesn't break, so keeping him in fight is pretty easy. And he obviously has poison, which does a lot of effects to whatever unit we're attacking. So put him onto a unit with a unit of Black Hawks. That unit that is attacking us is doing a lot less damage, etc, etc. So that's why he's up. Team him up with them. Team one of these up with the Black Hawks. Seem to be doing pretty well. I have fought this one against dwarfs. We won quite convincingly. I'm using the lower tier of cavalry, the Orc Boar Boys, because we don't need anti-large for the dwarfs. And these guys are armor piercing and anti-infantry, and of course that's what the dwarves mainly bring. And of course squigs, armor piercing and anti-infantry. Amazing units versus the dwarves. Empire, basically same kind of principles. A pretty good line. We've got some anti-large, we've got some armor pen to take on great swords. We've got the rusty arrows for the thunder armor effect. I might put one of these boys into the infantry line. I haven't quite decided on that one yet. Generally, again, we're going to be outranged by the Empire, so try and hide this guy somewhere, and just try not to get him noticed too much. Put him onto there. Again, maybe with something that the Black Orcs has teamed up with, and try and bring down a unit of great swords or something like that very, very quick. Of course, the Empire has very good cavalry. We have pretty good cavalry ourselves, so we're bringing a couple of those in with the Lords. And again, the Golden Warfighters to help us clean up some of the archers or ranged that the Empire do bring. And lastly, we have the army that I've made for the vampire counts. Of course, a lot of anti-large because they tend to bring a lot of large. Again, we've got the Thunder Armor effect double times in case they bring a lot of Graveguard. Then we do have some anti-armored units in our cavalry. Of course, the vampire counts have access to the Blood Knights. Very, very strong cavalry, but we can kind of counter them with our own. And of course these guys here to give us a hand if and when we do face off against like Graveguard, etc. Stuff like that. So yeah, those are the armies that I've built today. We will be trying those out over the next week or so, see how we go, maybe make some adjustments and stuff like that. Alright guys, that will probably bring us to the end of this video. I know it's something a wee bit different today, but hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you learned something from it. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.